Today you'll see two pairs of woven pants. They pull up with a beautiful yoga waistband that is not a hack, it's part of the pattern. I've got a print and a solid. I'm beaming because the fit is amazing. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing, and today I've got two pairs of pants to share. I'm super excited about these pants because the features are super cool. There are quite a few pocket options for you to choose from. They are easier to fit than other woven patterns, I think, and the experience was just top notch from start to finish. Great experience. And what I'm talking about is a new pattern released by Sinclair Patterns called Dune pants. These pants can be full length or they can be capri. They are pull up, which is amazing. And for the waistband, we have a yoga waistband, which means that you need some knit fabric to go there. I love these waistbands. Let me tell you, I've been loving them for many years. Usually I hack them onto patterns that don't have them. So a lot of patterns that are pull up have a separate waistband with an elastic inside made from the same woven fabric, which is awesome as well. But there's something to be said about a nice knit against your waist area. It's so comfortable. You don't need an elastic inside to hold them up. And it's just amazing. So this is a feature of the Dune pants, no need to hack. I've got 2 thumbs here, but I would give it 20 thumbs up because I really love this. The style of the pant is a straight leg. I wouldn't say it's a wide leg because the pants don't flare out, but from the hip, they go straight down in the shape. And then for the pockets, you have quite a few options. You can sew inseam pockets. The inseam pockets are compatible with patch pockets that go on the upper thigh. These patch pockets are not your regular patch pockets because they have a little pleat and a 3D sort of effect there. Super cool. Pocket flaps there. Those pocket flaps can also have a buttonhole and a button if you want. If you don't want to do inseam pockets, you can sew patch pockets there on the front. But those are too long to fit the patch pocket that goes down further on the thigh, so those two aren't compatible with each other. Maybe it could work if you wanted to put that cargo pocket down further, lower on the thigh area. At the back you have a yoke and a patch pocket as well. The same little flap that you can put on the cargo pocket is right there as well as an option. Because the Dune pants are new at Sinclair Patterns, as usual, there will be a period where they have a release sale. And as far as I know, the sale goes through next Tuesday, the 16th of July. But just be on the lookout because sometimes these sales extend further for a few more days. In the pinned comment way up there on the top, so it's easy for you to see, you'll find my affiliate link. Also in the description box. If you end up clicking there, going to the website and purchasing, I get a small commission. And that is one of the ways I make an income creating this free content for you to watch on YouTube. As always, if you end up using my link, I'm super grateful. The Dune pants were tested with woven fabrics. That is the primary recommendation for fabrics. You can use a wide variety of fabrics here. Drape is not required, and actually I would stay away from rayon lightweight fabrics like that. Even a rayon twill I wouldn't be too happy with. I just think they're too lightweight for this style. I don't think the pocket features would look very nice or hold up very nicely. They tend to droop sometimes in fabrics like this. So I would keep it a little more structured, a lightweight denim, medium weight denim, a cotton twill, chambray, 100% linen blends. I've used a linen rayon blend on one of mine. I've also used a wool suiting that is amazing. It's got an amazing weave with white and black details in there. You could use a lighter weight corduroy. A fabric that would be really nice and would have some drape, but it's not a lightweight fabric I think would look amazing, is tencel twill. I was really tempted. I had a hard time choosing my fabric because I have so many woven options in my collection. Now, as an asterisk, you could use a stretch woven. It could potentially affect the fit, but it's not recommended to size down. Just make the normal size, but know that it's going to fit a little bit different. A stretch cotton wouldn't be nice. I would keep the spandex content low though. When you look at fabric composition, I would probably just want 1 or 2% spandex and the stretch to not be more than 10% so it doesn't affect the fit that much. It's mentioned that you could, in theory, make this out of a structured knit like Ponte Roma. I wouldn't go there. I prefer to sew knit pants with patterns that are designed primarily for knit fabrics because although it's recommended you size down, the fit is going to be very different. So I would just keep it woven or maybe stretch woven if you want to go there, but I would not want to do it with a knit. And the pattern was not tested with knit fabrics. For the waistband, you want a nice structured knit that has at least 10% spandex so that it can stretch and recover really well. This yoga waistband is going to have about 90% of the circumference of your waist, so it's going to be smaller than your waist. You can have negative ease. and you want a fabric that's nice enough to hold up. I recommend cotton lycra with 90% cotton, 10% spandex, or an athletic knit with something similar like that. Even if you had more spandex would be nicer. I've made 2 yoga waistbands, one in a cotton lycra, one in an athletic knit. I think those are the best fabrics. Fabrics I wouldn't recommend rib knit. That's just way too stretchy, not enough recovery. ITY, double brush poly, those type of things. Rayon spandex, no way. Don't go there. But in the pattern, if you are using a fabric that you're not sure about how well it's going to hold up, you will see a technique that includes an elastic while you're sewing the yoga waistband. So you could do that if you wanted, but what I love the most about the yoga waistband is that it's just the knit in itself that holds up your pants or your skirt, wherever you want to put it. So I would rather find a sturdier knit fabric for this yoga waistband and not put an elastic inside. Sizing 0 to 30 US, goes up to a 63-inch hip. You know, Sinclair Patterns has height files, which for pants are amazing. I always find it super helpful. So choose that first. Look at this little chart here. You see where your height is, and you can choose petite, regular, or tall height files first, and then you go off and look at your measurements in the sizing chart. You're supposed to choose your size based on the full hip circumference. Then the waist, you can regulate with how big or how small you make that yoga waistband. So the hips have to fit really nicely. They do have positive ease. It's not a huge amount, 1.5 inches. I think it's fine. You know, I think that is a sweet spot, 1.5 to 2 inches of ease that is going to allow you to sit down and walk and live your life, but it's still going to look nice. Now, remember, if you use different weights of fabric, even though you use the same size, they might end up fitting a little different. If you use a heavier fabric compared to a lighter fabric, you're probably going to have more space inside the pants made out of the lighter fabric in comparison to the heavier fabric. And that's what's happened to me. My wool suiting is heavier than my linen. So you'll see later that my wool pants look a little more fitted than the linen pants, although they are exactly the same size. They are sewn in exactly the same way. Personal fitting, of course, I did my flat pattern measurements. I checked everything. I checked the rise on the front and the back, drew my seam allowances. I did all the process I do for any woven pant, no different. I always pin the waistband on the top as well, you know, as if they were sewn, you know, taking away seam allowances so that I can include the waistband in these measurements, because that's what's going to really give you a number that helps you to compare that to your body. All I had to do was make the front rise longer by 1 inch. So I cut my pattern across, added that inch at the center front, tapered to nothing on the sides. The back was perfect. The toe file really helps me. I sewed a straight size 14, full length, and the fit was great. Of course, before getting into my beautiful fabric, I wanted to make a non-wearable test. I found a hideous mustard fabric that some fabric shop sent me by error. I never ordered it, but I got it. When I tried to return it, they didn't want it. So it was really good to test these pants. It really helped me see if my change was what I needed. It was a similar weight and feel to the fabrics I was going to use. So it was super easy. You know, when you saw these non-wearable tests, you can be done in a few minutes because there's no pockets, there's no details, there's no serging, nothing like that involved. So that was really helpful for me to know. So just go ahead and cut my gorgeous fabrics. The Dune pants actually are the full sew along I have filmed for my Patreon page for the Orchid Tea. Over there on Patreon every month, the members of the Orchid Tea get to choose with a poll what pattern they would like me to sew. And I sew a full sew along. It's usually 3 parts, 3 videos, full on detail. So the Dune pants are this month's sew along over on Patreon. So I have all the detailed sewing over there. I am going to share some sewing with you here, mainly about the pockets. I think the pockets are what makes this project really fun and unique. These patch pockets are lined, which is not common that you see. Fully lined, beautiful. So I'm going to show you a little bit about that. And I'm going to focus on this cargo pocket, which I think is amazing. The seam allowance here is 5/8 of an inch. I am trimming away in a lot of places. This is the back leg and we have a yoke. And over here in this area, you're going to have double notches that are going to help you match it up. Over here is the front leg. I've got the crotch area in this section over here, hip area. You can see it's a nice and straight leg shape. Here are all the extra little pieces that we need. These are the back patch pockets. This is the main layer and this is the lining. I've cut my lining out of a lightweight shirting. I just tore up one of my husband's old shirts. Very lightweight, beautiful cotton. The sensation is amazing. This is the front patch pocket. The main layer is the one that has the entrance interface right there. This is the lining. These are cut from the same pattern pieces. And that is the little flap up there. That is interfaced, the main layer, and the lining piece is not interfaced. That is the yoga waistband over there. This is the cargo pocket that's going to go on the thigh, and it's going to have some 3D features, some pleats. So there's a few lines to draw over here. They are on the pattern piece. I drew them with chalk, and then on each corner you have a dot. So those are drawn there with chalk. I know I'm going to lose these marks when I do pressing and things, so I just made sure to mark them as best as I could with the chalk, but I'm going to be marking them with thread. These are the pattern pieces for the inseam pockets. You cut 2 out of main fabric and 2 out of lining. But because I'm always concerned that you're going to end up seeing that lining when you move, you know, it's on the hip area, I'm going to do all the pieces with my main fabric. So I'm using linen for everything. I don't want any other fabric to ever show. What we're going to do is trim the lining 1/8 of an inch smaller. Now this is something that we eyeball. We're cutting out all this edge right here. And what this is going to do is that because this is slightly smaller, it's going to push the seam allowance underneath. It's going to favor the seam to go underneath when we sew them together. And I'm going to do the same for this. And for this one, I'm just going to cut around this area, the curve right there. This is going to be inserted into the hip area, the side seam. That is going to be inserted in the waistline. This is the pocket entrance. So it's just this curved edge that needs to be trimmed. So remember, I'd cut the lining piece out of a really lightweight cotton. This is my main. I've got it pinned together, right sides together. And remember, we trimmed away all of this area here. So that's why when you see it like this, it doesn't look absolutely smooth. When we turn it right sides out, it's going to turn out how it has to be. And these seams are going to be sort of pushed towards the inside. So we're just going to sew. On here on the top, we need to also sew, but leave a gap in the middle so we can turn it right sides out. You can see that I sewed this in separate sections. So I'm finishing there. Instead of pivoting, I start again here, there. Always keeping the exact seam allowance. And I prefer to do this rather than pivot. I think it turns out nicer in the corners when you turn it right sides out, and it's more stable to have intersecting seams right there. So we'll just trim away some now. I'm just going to leave half of the seam allowance in here on the top as well. So now we're going to turn it right sides out. So there we have it. Now this top here is open. So I'm just going to let the seam allowance fold into the inside and put a pin here. I'm not going to sew this closed with the sewing machine at this point, because when we sew the flap onto the pants, we're going to be edge stitching, and that's when this is finally going to be closed. Now at the bottom, we're supposed to have a point, but it's not a sharp point. There. So that's how it looks like on the inside. Now just to take it another step further, and I do this with all my pockets, I'm going to hand baste. And I'm going to be fiddling with the seam allowance just to make sure that this lining is rolling towards the inside by 1/8 of an inch like that, so that from the outside you can never see the lining. So no better way than to do it with your hands and just do it like that and hand baste, in my opinion. So it's small pieces. It's going to take a minute extra. It's nothing terrible that's going to lengthen the project, but it can make a big difference. So I'm just going to do this quick hand baste, and then I'm going to press it. And then as an option, you can edge stitch around this pocket. See, the seam wants to roll to this side anyway, just because this lining piece was that tiny little bit smaller. Put away these flaps for now. We'll use them in a sec. Now we have to sew the back patch pocket, which is sort of the same process. So now I'm just going to trim away the seam allowance and flip to the other side. Okay, here we just don't snip. That's what you would do with other shapes. But with this one, we need to actually trim away little triangles. We need to trim away notches so that when this is on the inside, it's reduced the bulk of this area. Oh my gosh, this scissors is on its last breath of sharpness right here. You get the point. So I'm going to cut a few more here, maybe 3 more. And then same on this other side there. I'm going to go get a better scissors. Here I have the back legs, and on the yoke piece is where you're going to find the marks for the pocket. I've drawn dots with my friction pen. I've got a dot here, a dot there, and one up higher for the flap. So that's where I'm going to align this pocket. This has already been pressed. Love the line pocket. It's so neat. And I'm gonna join the corners of the pockets to these dots here. So you can see they're gonna have a sort of slanted shape, but it goes sort of parallel to this over here. I'm going to find the dots I've got marked here with red and just put the flap right here on top. This is a slanted pocket opening, the one that's interfaced. At the back I have the lining piece. Remember, we trimmed this away. That's going to be helpful later. But at this point, as a first step, I want to sew this, trim and understitch. It has been sewn 5/8 of an inch. I'm just going to trim this in half. And now to understitch, we always push the seam allowance towards the lining over here, and we're going to sew on the edge. We have to turn this back to right sides together to have the wrong sides out here, because now we have to sew this curve. Okay, there it is. Now we're going to trim away and take little triangle notches from this area as well. Okay, there it is, triangles cut out, and now we turn it right sides out through one of these openings. And the same as we did with the other ones, I'm going to tidy it up. Now that everything's nice and neat, everything's turned to the other side. Now we can top stitch this slanted opening if you want to.
And we're just going to align them here so that they match the waist and the side seam.
You're going to have a rectangle like this. You can see I did some thread marking because you really need to see the marks on the right side. The wrong side has W's all over it. So we're at the ironing board. Remember, we're pressing these two inner lines, not the ones on the outside, the ones on the inside. You're going to choose one first and press it right sides together. So you're looking at the wrong side of the fabric right now. And with the thread marks, it's really easy to find it and just give it a little press right there. And then it's the same for this other one. I flipped it to the other side, and now I have this one. So you can see that these two lines here are raised, and that's because they've been pressed. Now we're going to flip the pocket to the right side of the fabric. You can see there's no marks here, so this is the right side. And now we're going to press the inner lines. This inner line, we're going to press it like that. So it's like we're making an inverted box pleat. That's what it's going to look like in the end. These are the lines that we want to press now, and they're going to meet in the middle. And that's how we get our inverted box. So remember, this is the right side of the fabric. Now what we need to top stitch on the edge is this and this. We're going to sew them right on the edge using our special presser foot. Just being careful, sewing on the edge. And it's just 2 straight seams, super easy, and that's going to fix that box pleat in place, and it's not going to unpress as you wear your pants. Okay, here is our patch pocket with these folds already top stitched. It's going to keep it in place. Remember, this is the right side of the pocket. It's going to look like an inverted box pleat over here. And if you look at it from the wrong side, it's just going to look like a box pleat. So what I'm going to do now is I've changed my thread to white so I can do some guide stitches. So up here on the top of the pocket, we have these dots that are further down from the edge by about 1.25 inches. Over here, I'm going to do a guide stitch at 3/8. Same as on these sides that go down like this, 3/8. At the bottom, I'm going to do one at 5/8, and that's going to match those dots that are here. This is how the pocket looks. This is the top part of the pocket, 3/8, the sides 3/8, and the bottom at 5/8. White thread so you can see it. We're going to press it later, but I've changed my thread back to burgundy, and now we're going to do a little bit of a stitching right here to hold this pleat in place. So about 3/8 of an inch from the top here, I'm going to stitch back and forth, just a very small stitch. It's not going to be a bar tack, just regular stitching. From the bottom as well, I'm going to do it at 3/8, and then again a little bit higher right there, just so that stays in place. Don't overthink this too much. This is not going to be seen, so don't worry about it too much. Just do a little bit of a stitching here to keep it in place. What we're going to do at the iron now is press this top edge in by 3/8 of an inch. Then we're going to fold it again by 1 inch. You actually have these little marks here, these little dots to guide you. And then once that's all nice and pressed, then we're going to top stitch that down. Top edge is nice and neat. I'm going to remember to take these little thread marks out now. I can just pull them out. And now we're going to press the sides by 3/8. Once I've got these sides pressed in, then I have to press it again an inch in. Okay, the pocket is wrong sides up. We're going to take this and fold it. I can see my white thread, and this fold is an inch from the first fold. Okay, and now we take this fold and bring it back to meet this fold. So it's like a little accordion. So that is how that looks. Other side the same. This fold, bring it back so that it's against the other fold. And voila, 3D pockets. Okay, here is our 3D pocket. Looks like a little accordion there. Now on this edge here is where we're going to edge stitch. The same way we did with this little pleat over here. The same. Right here. In the instructions, I have you doing this edge stitch before folding that little accordion one. I did it before because I was at the iron and it doesn't really make a difference. The next step for these both patch pockets is to fold in the bottom. I had my guide stitch at 5/8. Remember, you have dots there to guide you for that. So those are pressed up towards the wrong side. I have removed those guide stitches. And this memory crease that we get here is going to help us do the next step, which is sew the patch pocket to the legs. Now at this point, your side seams need to be pressed. I have sewn them and pressed them open, so that's ready to go. And on the leg, you'll find marks to align these. This is the front leg, this is the back leg. That is a side seam sewn and pressed open or serged. You can see that thread mark that I have there that is on the patterned piece that you need to mark. The line on top is going to be for the pocket flap. So this is the reference for our patch pocket. So you can see it's a little bit slanted, and that is where we're supposed to align it, right there. I'm going to scoot this up. Okay, having placed this right here on the mark of the pattern, all along this line as well, I'm going to put a pin right where that corner is right here. I know this corner of the pocket is going to match that mark that we have there, so I don't really need a pin there. Now what I want to do is flip the pocket this way so that it's wrong sides up, and we want our memory crease right there where that mark is, and on this corner where I put a pin. And this is where we want to do a stitch now. We sew that bottom. Once that's sewn, we can flip the pocket up and it's going to end up exactly in the position it has to be. Here I'm at the iron. We have just sewn that little seam there right into that memory crease at 5/8 from the edge of the pocket. And now we're going to flip it up like this. And this edge is going to follow your thread marks. These are going to be on the pattern. They're going to align on here. And then that second line that's about 1/2 inch up is where the pocket flap is going to go. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a press here. We have already seen how to sew the pocket flap on. I'm not going to do anything different. I'm just going to line it up here. And it has the same width as a patch pocket. What we're going to do now is sew right there on that edge that's on the inside. There you can see that seam right along the edge, and we were able to get all the way down here. Under there, remember, is a fold, a few layers. Now to sew the other side, I'm going to have to flip and start from the bottom up. So in this area, I need to bring this fold away. You can see here are the markings for the pocket, and I'm right there, right on top. This is my beautiful first pair. It's so gorgeous. I was able to reuse the yoga waistband I'd used on my non-wearable pair, that mustard pair, so that was good. And this weave is amazing. It's a wool blend suiting material, medium weight. It's got a nice drape, and it's got this gorgeous weave. I used a front patch pocket over here. It's got these rounded shapes. This slanted area is interfaced and top stitched right there, so it's really stable. On the inside for the lining, I have a very, very lightweight cotton. At the back, we also have a patch pocket with rounded shapes there, lined as well. You can see the cotton there. I also lined the pocket flaps with that method, with that same fabric. Very beautiful. I sew the flap right on top there. It's a different method you see in the instructions that sews it and then flips it over. I found that with the technique in the pattern, you were going to go through more layers than I was happy with, especially with my domestic sewing machine. I get really nervous of going through a lot of layers, so I just sewed it on the edge there, and I think it still looks super neat. The yoke is there. Now there are subtle stripes here. I tried to match at the crotch, so that really worked. Same as in the front over here, you can see those subtle stripes. I'm glad they're not super contrasting because I did not match the side seams. There was no way I was going to be able to do that with the fabric that I had, so that's good. My yoga waistband, so comfortable. It just has a center back seam. And then down the leg, it all goes straight down like that. I would rarely sew an inseam pocket. I do love the technique in the pattern though. I think it's really, really good. I did film the technique for Patreon using my non-wearable test garment. So it's easy, you can do it. It's just that I don't do it. I'm just really glad I had this fabric lying around. You can see my seams are pressed open on the inside. They're all serged. That's the back yoke seam right there. So nice. I mean, these turned out super neat on the inside as well. I've styled them 4 ways for you. Keep a lookout for the 4th look. It's my all-time favorite look ever. This is my first pair of Dune pants from Sinclair Patterns. I made a size 14 tall file. I have some pockets here, patch pockets on the front and patch pockets on the back. This is a wool blend suiting, quite lightweight, it's not too warm. I think I can get away with wearing it in spring and autumn. And I've got it paired with my bloom top from Sinclair Patterns also. Up closer you can see the yoga waistband, so comfortable. That is a cotton lycra. And you can see the patch pockets on the front. Those patch pockets are fully lined and I used a really lightweight cotton on the inside. At the back you can see the yoke and the patch pockets with the pocket flaps. There on the pocket flaps you can see the type of cotton I'm using to line. So pretty. I love those flaps. I think the pockets are really cute and I'm so happy with the fit. All I did was add 1 inch to the front rise at the center front, tapering to nothing on the sides, and I made no changes to the back. The inseam is the original one for the tall file as well, and I'm very happy with this length and the fit. I think it's just perfection. I really, really love these. Because the weave is black and white on these pants, they're quite classic. I think I could style them so many ways. I'm very happy. This is a look that was a no-brainer for me. I pulled out a Melody Dolman top from Love Notions in a rayon linen blend. It's a nice longish blouse and I have enough ease and length to be able to undo a couple of buttons and tie it up at the front, which I think looks super cute. I prefer this look than leaving it untied just because the legs on these pants are a little wider, they're straight. So I love how this looks, so beautiful. Let me tell you, those heels are very tall, but they're very comfortable. So I'm really happy. I've got a red bag there for a pop of color to match my lipstick. I can't wait to wear this out. It's just so classic. That yoga waistband, what can I say? You just pull up the pants and they stay put. So comfortable. I love a good yoga waistband and I'm glad this is part of the pattern and not something I had to hack for the pattern. Very happy with the yoga waistband. This is a nice little classic look as well. I've got a ready to wear cami and the cardigan that you see there is called Rosie. It's also from Sinclair. It's a really nice length at the mid hip. I think goes perfect with the wide leg pants. All in black and white here, and I've got some golden accessories there, the leather and the shoes, the button on the cardigan. So I love this light layer. I love this look. I think you could never be out of style or in style or whatever. This is something you can wear for decades and you never look out of place. And I really, really like this look. And wait till you see the last look. I couldn't wait to put these two together. Ta-da! My Isla trench coat. Oh my gosh, isn't this perfection? Love that lining on the trench coat. The trench is one of my best projects ever made and they go perfect with these pants. I've got the same white cami underneath, some booties and a nice little scarf. I love this look. It's just me all over it and I can't wait to wear this out in real life. I'm just so happy. There you can see the pants under there. Of course, this weave and the black and white is always going to go with whatever color you pair it with, but with red I think it's much more striking, at least for me, because red is one of my best colors and I feel absolutely amazing in this outfit. This is my second pair. This is a burgundy linen rayon blend, linen 55%, rayon 45%. I think it's amazing. And I was able to find an athletic knit in the exact same color, which is really important to me. I really didn't want to put black or white or something too contrasting here. There's no way I could have done that with this one because this is a because of the weave, but I like the combination of the grayish there. This one has the gorgeous cargo pocket here on the side. It's so beautiful. It has the pocket flap and you can see the inverted box pleat over there. And then over here, it's like a 3D effect. Gorgeous. I will never put anything in these pockets. Never ever, but they look amazing. They look so beautiful. I don't think they add a lot of bulk to the thigh, nothing like that. It looks really, really nice. And in theory, this pocket would be compatible with the inseam pocket if you wanted to add it. When you're top stitching this pocket though, you would have to move the pocket bags out of the way so you don't catch them, but it is compatible in theory. I did not do that. At the back, I have the same patch pockets as the other version you saw. Nice and rounded, little pocket flap. Now this is lined with the same grey cotton, but it's lined so well that you'll never see it on the sides. No one's ever going to see the pockets over here, and that's because the lining of these pockets is a little bit smaller and that makes the seam roll towards the inside. So I think that is super clever in the technique. Really enjoyed that. And then the leg goes straight down. These are so beautiful. I have some really fun looks, monochromatic, with black, with white. I had a lot of fun styling these. I'm really going to enjoy them. These are my second pair of Dune pants, this time in a linen rayon blend, burgundy, beautiful. I have a monochromatic look, including the shoes. I love how the vest looks because I think you can really see the details of the pants. You can see the straight leg. I've got cargo patch pockets on the side that you'll see up closer. Such a lovely fit. This is a size 14 toe file. At the back you can see the yoke, the patch pockets with the pocket flap, and this yoga waistband. I have the same exact color in an athletic knit. I'm so happy I had that color in my stash because I can get the waistband to match, which is ideal for me. Even though these are the same size and the same pattern as my wool suiting ones, these look a little looser. It's just because the linen is lighter weight than the other ones. The different fabric can create a little bit of a different fit. The heavier the fabric, the more fitted they'll look. And up closer you can see these fabulous cargo pockets with a pleat in the middle. You also see there's a pleat on the side, and I'll never ever put anything in them, but they're just so pretty and I'm really glad I got to try out these feature. They were so much fun to sew, and I know I'm going to be borrowing this pocket to put on other things because I'd never actually sewn one of these pockets before, so that was a first for me and very entertaining. I love the combination of white, navy and burgundy. I have always loved this combination. Slight variation from combining it with red. I really like this stripy blouse. I've tied it up at the waist so you can see the features there, showing off my comfy yoga waistband. There's nothing better than to just pull up your pants without zippers. It's so comfortable and it feels amazing on. So this is another little fun look I'm excited to wear someday when I go out in real life, not just in the front of my house there to show you the fit. Because these are solid bottoms, I can pair them with something black and white. I think this is a safe bet for me. This is a swing style cami top that I made years ago out of rayon. It's slightly wide. You know, if I was feeling a type of way, I might wear it loose, but I'll probably tuck it in at the front. I probably would never tuck it in the whole way. And there you can see my yoga waistband. I would only half tuck this because the yoga waistband has the same color. If it was a really contrasting color, I probably would not want to tuck this in. I would probably want to cover the waistband. So I'm ecstatic that I had the same color athletic knit in my stash so I can pull off this look, and I think this is really fun with a black and white top. I had such a great experience sewing these. It comes all the way back from sewing my non-wearable test garment. I knew the fit was so good. I was so happy with the fit. I knew these were going to turn out amazing. So when you're not worried about fit, it's a different experience. You're just enjoying the techniques and sewing as nicely as you can without that thing in your mind thinking, is it going to fit well? That's why I always suggest you do a test. Even if it's in scraps, whatever, it's going to give you a lot of peace of mind to make good use of your time in something that you're going to love, that you're going to wear and that is going to fit. So Please don't make pants without making a test. I never do, and I've got a lot of experience under my belt. I still make the test garment because I want to make sure. It's never a waste of time, and it doesn't need to take you a long time. I'm a huge advocate of the non-wearable test garment because there's no expectations for it. You're not spending nice fabric or your time constructing them. The whole goal of that is to get a test pair. Love these, love the yoga waistbands. I think the fit is as perfect as pants can be. I'm very pleased. And these are going to be amazing for me. I'm really going to love them, and I think they're a great pattern.
I really hope I can make these again in black linen. That would be amazing to have. I have different styles of black pants. I don't have a style like this in black, and I think that would be amazing. So always I'm aiming to sew more than I can sew because I only have 24 hours.
I'm really happy with them, and I'm sure you're going to love them if you give them a go. Remember, they have a discount till next Tuesday the 16th, or maybe even longer if you check. Always find the information below in the pinned comment or the description box. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you soon on this channel with more fun sewing. Bye.